So the manifesting the love of my life, why would I want to manifest that? Because, I've had really crap relationships. Do you know what I mean? Like dire, really bad. And so I wanted a relationship where I would grow and become more rather than become less. And so I started to use the law of attraction in attracting, creating, attracting him. So in going back to, he could have been in that room that I was in when I met him. And if I hadn't have done all this work, I would not have seen him or heard him or had the confidence to speak to him, because my filters determined I would be looking for this type of person, this type of man. So I would never have seen him. So what I'd done with this law of attraction thing, with the ask, I moaned and groaned with my girlfriends about what I didn't want, whilst putting out to the universe, I want this, I want that, I want the other. And then when it all clicked, what I was doing, that I was the common denominator. It was me that was the common denominator. I was there, and in that room full of potential, loves of your lives, I was the one that was being attracted to. So what was it about me? So my list in the ask, in this process that I've distilled, is that you write down all the things that you don't want, all the things. So I looked at all my past relationships, all the things that didn't work, and I wrote them all down. But I took each area, so physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Okay? So within the physical area, I wrote all the things that were really rotten and bad in my past relationships. So that included sex, finances, career, health, all of those things. And then the mental capacity, whether he was up for growing, the spiritual side of things, moving, the emotional supportive, was I supported emotionally, So I wrote this enormous long list of what I don't want. Now, Abraham Hicks talks about pivotal thinking, okay? And in a process that David Grove came up with, he came up with clean language. And one of those things about living in the question. So it goes with the pivotal thinking. What would you rather have? So you flip it. I call it flip it. So you're flipping it into the positive of what you do want to have in your life. Okay, so you flip it. So say, for example, he never supports me. He always ignores me. Okay, so you flip it to he supports me, and when I talk, he listens to me. Okay, so that's you flipping it. So I went through this whole long list. Then I realized that it wasn't just about him or them, the ones that I didn't like in the relationships. It was about me. So who did I become in this relationship, in these relationships? Because out of a relationship, I've got it all going on.
Of course, we all do.
We got, and then I stepped into the relationships, and somehow or other, I gave my power away. I became victim, and it pushes them into a different place. It pulls out of them a different aspect, because like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together. So who we were when we met, and then who we both became, I couldn't be in blame. I had to step out of the blame game, and I had to bring it back to owning what happened to me when I went into these relationships. So I did the exact same process. So I had loads of paper of A4.
That's a lot of words.
But this is the point, you see, because those core beliefs that I held about myself, who this woman was when I became a partner, when I became the other half in a relationship, who that woman was deep inherited programming. It's stuff that I'd witnessed growing up. It was stuff that I'd seen on telly, read in books, but it was also inherited. Deep programming of what woman is to man in a relationship, socially programmed too. What came out? Deep core belief structures. So where it started with moans and groans and criticisms and fears and judgments, that was the very entry point to the big core beliefs,
Yeah.
the big neural net, the structure that was in my hard drive that was dictating the kind of relationships I attracted into my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the thing that stands out to me is that, I mean, you use this pivoting technique, and I think that's helpful for a lot of people, especially when you're deeply entrenched in these core negative beliefs, because you can ask someone like that, okay, what do you want in a partner?
Mm.
And sometimes, I know for me personally, I almost have a hard time coming up with, well, I don't know what I want in my life. I don't know what I want financially or in a career. I don't know what I want with some,
And so
with a significant other.
what does the
But
law
I know
give
what I
you?
don't want, but I know what I don't want.
Exactly.
And so I can make a list of that really easily. And once I have that
Yes.
list, I can flip it.
Yeah.
So,
So the law of attraction, up until that point where your mates are going, well, what do you want? You're like, well, I don't know. Da, 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 da.
yeah.
Up until this point, the law of attraction is working perfectly for you. It's giving you more
Mm-hmm.
of what you don't want.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always been working. It's never not ever worked.
Yeah.
That's huge
Yeah.
realization, huh?
Yeah. That,
So at this,
right. It's hard to grasp, really. I mean,
yeah, yeah, I know. It's like,
yeah.
oof. But at this point, what would you rather have? What would you rather be? What would you rather feel? What would you rather see? What would you rather do? You can press the pause button at any point in your day where you're feeling, or angst, or you're tuning in. I don't really want to do that, or that you catch yourself doing the same moan and groan story internally, or you're actually saying it to someone. Literally, just press the pause button and go, right, what would I rather have? I'd rather have, and the key is the opposite.
Yeah.
This is the opposite. You just literally want the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to be loved. I want to be heard. I want to be accepted. I want to be respected. I want to be listened to. I want to be laughed with. I want to experience the good times. I want to feel good. Yeah, I want adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we all want. We're all very similar. Okay, so when
you get to the essence of it, it's all the same.
yeah. So I got to that part. I got to that point, yeah? So it's like, but I'm still in want.
But I'm curious, when you're writing down this list, and so you write all the negatives, and then I'm assuming in the same session, you're sitting there, and then you flip it.
Yeah.
And did you feel an emotional shift at that point, or was it more of just maybe a kind of mechanical process, like, okay, I know this is what I'm going to do, but as you started listening to the positive aspects, did you feel an emotional shift inside?
Yeah, well, some things it's very just like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. And other things, there's a real emotional shift going on as you're doing it. And I mean, your perception on that is unique to you. But for me, that kind of meant that was big. This is a big one. This is, this is a core, belief. Because all of this is saying, I'm not lovable. I'm not likable. I don't deserve this. I'm not worthy. I'm not very confident in that manner. That's what those massive long lists are saying to me. And that's huge to first have that reflection in front of oneself. It's like owning it properly for the first time. Because when I did this particular process and all of these elements came together with this particular process of finding my love, I found myself. Yeah. And that's the gift. That was the gift within that process. Rob was secondary. Really, do you know what I mean? Because I'd got to the nitty by going out and coming back in, by going for the blame game and the moans and the groans of what others had done to me, and then coming back and owning it, and what did that mean? Who was I in those moments? And getting that on that piece of paper, and then flipping it to, I want to be lovable. I want to be liked. I want to be heard, and actually I do deserve this. That was huge realization. It's a wake up. Cool.
So how long, so after you did this process and after you anchored it and all that.
6 weeks.
That's it, huh? Only 6? That's pretty quick.
Do you know what? I would like, honestly,
I mean, how long were you single before that? Or how long were you looking?
So 4.5 years, 5 years.
Yeah. So 4.5 years to 6 weeks then.
Yeah. And the men that I attracted in that time was just like, oh my God, no, right, so I'm stopping. I'm not attracting anyone. This is utterly ridiculous now.
Hmm.
This isn't happening. So I'm just going to work on me. So for two
Yeah.
years, there was absolutely, I'm just giving up. There's nothing
Hmm.
going on here at all.
Yeah.
I've got children. It would have to
Yeah.
be someone huge and
Yeah.
amazing to walk into my life right now,
Yeah.
because there's actually no man-shaped hole anywhere for him
Yeah.
to fit in.
Right.
But there was this part of me at that point where it was like, actually, I've got all this process and I really want to use it on something that I don't believe can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, something really massive.
Yeah.
I've got all these pieces of this puzzle,
Yeah.
and I
The
need
ultimate
evidence.
test, you know,
Yeah,
the ultimate test.
the
And
ultimate
then only
test.
6 weeks, and then I mean, how did you find him? Or when you saw him, did you know? Was it like
No, 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 no.
sparks?
No, I went to no, I went to, and that's
Yeah.
that's what normally happens.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of like lust
Yeah.
thing, that kind of,
Yeah.
I'm going to blind you. Falling
Yeah.
in love hurts my knees, and I'm not
Hmm.
doing it anymore. Yeah, falling
Right.
in love, I'm not doing that. I'm going to rise in each other. And so it didn't
Hmm.
happen like that. I was
Hmm.
invited to a friend's 41st surprise birthday party,
Hmm.
and it was past midnight, and I was like, oh, I'll just have another little mooch around the house, say hello to,
Yeah.
do my final goodbyes.
Yeah.
And I know that I would have walked away. I would not have seen him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Right.
just not in my um, ordinary, who I would go for at all.
Yeah.
No. And then we just suddenly started talking, and we got really into this stuff, and we really grooved, and we just,
Yeah.
and it was just like, there was a connection that was just like, hey, you're my brother. Do you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
like, I've known you for eons,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was reciprocated, and
Hmm.
it was normal, it was lovely, it was just
Hmm.
perfect. It's making me go all thrill bumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it's like, woohoo, the process works. Right, what next?
Yeah.